Shalom. Reach the He Pray channel. My name is Azim Mawak. But first and foremost, I want to say, Call Holalim Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Harakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, 7:13:19, where I learned this truth from, who rule well. Salutations to the Bakyar, the elect, 144,000. That's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel consist of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous of America. The 144,000 being the governing body within the one-third. The rest of the one-third comprises of elect men, women, and children. Shalom to those Israelites scattered due to the diaspora and also the triangular trade, so our people will come looking like different ethnicities, having various complexions, so this is not a black thing, not the black Hebrew Israelites, we're just Hebrew Israelites. Shalom to those that died in this truth. It says the dead should be raised up first, those that will be accompanying Yahweh Shah on his return, including our King Mashah, who is King David. As always, honor and privilege, honor and blessing to continue to do this work. The water Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah for answering my prayers and permitting me to do such. Baba Kashah Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah allows us to be an edifying lesson to at least one member of the elect. So I'm pretty sure everybody's got their little eggnog with a little bit of brandy in it, getting ready to celebrate a satanic holiday, which they think it's of the scriptures, of the Holy Bible, and it's not. Really, you people who are participating in this holiday, that these so-called white people, the Edomites, have influenced you and deceived you to worship and commemorate. It's 2025, man. You're going to be destroyed. It's about to be 2026 and you niggas are still believing in the tooth fairy, believing in Easter bunnies laying eggs, believing in Christmas, celebrating your own massacre with Thanksgiving. So a lot of you niggas, you too far gone. You have to be destroyed, man. But this is a co-pilot. It says the Bible does not give a date for Yahweh Shah's birth, which we know is named not to be Jesus. The letter J is only 500 years old. It came about in 1524. So it'll be going on 502 years old as we're approaching the new year. And the Bible does give a time period in which Yahweh Shah was born, and when he went back to the heavens after being rose from the dead was during the Passover, which is typically in March and April, man. It says the Bible does not give a date for Yahweh Shah's birth or link his death to midwinter. December 25th is a later liturgical choice layered over older seasonal festivals. All right. says many nativity details from the Gospels, Luke, Matthew, and later apocryphal infancy narratives. The lament for Tammuz appears in Ezekiel as a foreign cultic practice, which is what you people are foolishly and unknowingly worshiping and commemorating when you celebrate Christmas, which Mass means death. So Christ is death, which really is not who you would think Christ is according to the scriptures, but really it's speaking about Tammuz. It says, in the modern Santa Claus image grew from the historical Bishop Nicholas of Myra, plus later folklore and commercial adaptation, which that commercial adaptation was used by these companies in order for them to get a jolt in revenue during these winter months, which, without it, they wouldn't be able to gain any money because everything slows down during the colder months. So this is nothing but a money grab. It says a quick guide, key considerations before deeper reading. Scope, canonical gospels, Matthew, Luke, apocryphal infancy texts, prophetic critique, Ezekiel, Mesopotamia, myth, Tammuz, and historical Saint Nicholas. Questions to keep in mind: are you comparing theology, liturgical history, or cultural syncretism? Do you want verse by verse exegesis? Let's see. Hold on.
Exegesis or high-level synthesis?
Yeah, exegesis or high-level synthesis. Decision points: prioritize primary texts, Gospels, Ezekiel for doctrine. Use Apocrypha for tradition and imagery. Use historical sources for St. Nicholas and comparative mythology. So, this is Luke chapter 2, 1 through 20. It says, Gospel nativity narrative with shepherds, meaning emphasizes humility and divine announcement to the poor. Significance, canonical source for the birth story using liturgical and artistically. Matthew 2 verse 1 through 12. Gospel, Magi, Herod, flight to Egypt, meaning Yahushua's birth framed in prophetic fulfillment and prophetic danger. Significance, supplies the star Magi and Herod episode central to Epiphany traditions. Proto-Evangelium of James, Pseudo-Matthew, Apocrypha, Gospel, expanded infancy details, midwives, manger setting, extended backstory for Mary, meaning fills narrative gaps in canonical texts. Significance, shaped medieval nativity art and popular devotion, though not canonical. Ezekiel 8 and 14 gospel vision. It says, prophet sees women weeping for Tammuz. So let's go to there real quick. This is a vision of abominations in Jerusalem. This is Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 1. It says, and it came to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I sat in my house, and the elders of Yahweh sat before me, that the hand of Yahweh fell there upon me. Then I beheld, and lo, likeness as the appearance of fire, from the appearance of his loins even downward, fire, and from his loins even upward, as the appearance of brightness, as the color of amber. And he put forth the form of a hand, and took me by a lock of my head. And the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven, and brought me in the visions of the power, or of the Most High, to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looked toward the north, where was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoketh to jealousy. So they were worshiping false deities. And behold, the glory of the Most High, the power of Yahshua was there, according to the vision that I saw in the plain. Then said he unto me, Son of man, lift up thy eyes now the way toward the north. So I lifted up my eyes the way toward the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry. Let me see something real quick. Verse 6, it says, he said furthermore unto me, Son of man, seest thou what they do? Even the great abominations, wicked acts that the house of Yahshua committeth here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary? But turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations. So Jake ain't no different from then to now, worshiping these false deities, man, following after these heathens' practices. It says, and he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. And, they were doing it in secret. I mean, why else would you have to dig a hole in the wall to access a door? So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things and abominable beast, and all the idols of the house of Israel, portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Yahshua, and in the midst of them stood Jaazaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Yahshua do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery. For they say, Yahweh seeth us not. Yahweh hath forsaken the earth. He said also unto me, turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. So it was even a greater abomination. Verse 14, then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahweh's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. And that's what you people are celebrating when you celebrating Christmas, man. You know, you're weeping once again for Tammuz. Then said he unto me, hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these. It says, and he brought me into the inner court of Yahweh's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of Yahweh, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of Yahweh and their faces toward the east. And they worshiped the sun toward the east, you know, which goes into sun worship, which Esau is heavily into sun worship. Um, so imagery of jealousy says the bold answer. The image of jealousy in the Bible is a prophetic, legal, and relational metaphor that pictures the Most High's righteous zeal against idolatry and Israel's spiritual adultery. It also, which is fornication, it also names a human vice that fractures community and worship. Understanding it means reading Ezekiel's vision, the covenant law, and pastoral theology together. Um, so it goes in the background what the phrase refers to. In Ezekiel 8 in the prophet, it's like it. In Ezekiel 8, the prophet is shown an image of jealousy set up at the north gate of the temple, a visual symbol of idolatry that provokes the Most High's jealous anger against it, represents covenant unfaithfulness. This is not a neutral archaeological label, but a prophetic indictment. The image stands for spiritual adultery and the people's betrayal of the covenant. Important point, the phrase functions as symbolic shorthand for what the Most High will not tolerate: foreign worship inside Israel's sacred place. Uh, then it might be like a pantheon type thing. Let me see. I just wanted to see something real quick. I'm just nothing's pre-written, nothing's it's all through the spirit, man. And it's late, so going up a little bit, it says keywords defined: nativity, birth narratives in Luke, Matthew, apocrypha, non-canonical, infancy, expansions. Syncretism, blending the religious customs, cultic lament, ritual mourning for dying and rising gods like Tammuz. Tammuz, origin in relation to Israelite texts. Tammuz du Muzi is a Mesopotamian shepherd fertility figure whose seasonal death return symbolize vegetation cycles. And, so they would worship, I'm assuming they would worship Tammuz so they can have a good crop during the spring. His cult included lamentation rituals that reached the Levant and are criticized in Ezekiel's vision as foreign worship practices, which goes back to Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, "Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Yashar'Allah. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen." So we're instructed not to learn the ways of these heathens, man. Let them go ahead and do what they do until, they're underneath our feet, you know. But we are to turn back to the law, statutes, commandments of our power, which is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. It says, important point, Ezekiel's mention is a prophetic denunciation, not endorsement, and it documents cultural contact between Israel and Mesopotamian religion. Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus, historical core and evolution. Nicholas of Myra was a 4th century bishop famed for charity and miracle stories. His feast, 6 December, and legends, secret gift giving, were later merged with Northern European gift traditions and commercialized into the modern Santa Claus figure over centuries. So it's another thing that these so-called white people hijacked, twisted, and turned. Important point. The jolly red-suited Santa is a cultural synthesis, not a direct biblical or patriotist, or let me see, patristic portrait. Limit, risk, and next step. Limitations. Apocryphal texts are valuable for cultural history but are non-canonical. Liturgical dates reflect ecclesiastical decisions, not scriptural timestamps. Risks. Conflating mythic motives. Tammuz Adonis with Christian doctrine can misrepresent theological claims, keep historical errors distinct. And you go around the world, you pan around the world, they don't even celebrate it on the same day. It's really something for, to worship these false deities to try to get, a good yield from, their crops in the spring, I'm assuming. The word Christmas festival, celebrating the birth of Jesus, which we know he wasn't born in the winter. It says since the early 20th century, so this is a new thing. Christmas has also been a secular family holiday observed by Christians and non-Christians alike, which, in these time period, the Christians is dealing with the Edomites. The Edomites in the West wanted to call themselves Christians, and the Edomites in the East said, well, we're going to call ourselves Jews. It says devoid of Christian elements and marked by increasingly elaborate exchange of gifts, which they stole from Nicholas of Myra. In this secular Christmas celebration, a mythical figure named Santa Claus plays the pivotal role. Christmas time, which is Christ's death time, running from Advent or earlier through Epiphany, is a season rich with countless religions and secular traditions that bring together family, faith, and culture while emphasizing themes of hope, joy, generosity, and goodwill. But going back to Jeremiah 10 and 2, it says, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. And, one of the signs that, these people are being dismayed by is three-eyed Atlas. For the heathen are dismayed at them. So go to be dismay, 13th century, dismaying, become, it's like it become or be alarmed, upset, or frightened. You know? Verse 3, it says, for the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest. And, these are evergreen trees, pines. It says the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. You got to cut them motherfuckers down with the axe. It's big business. Let me see. Down a little bit. Says short answer: real Christmas tree sales in the United States generate around 2 billion per year. So it's big business, man. Based on the most recent industry and market analysts. So that's $2 billion a year, man. It says they deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. You all seen that, man. You seen the base that, you got to put the tree in and you got to make sure it stands up right. Really, it goes back to Tom Moose's penis, man. You're putting a big dick inside your house or wherever, man. It says they are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born. You have to move them around yourself because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. You know? All right, so it says direct, bold, clear two sentences. If Jesus' birth and death were both aligned with Passover of the biblical new moon calendar, then his death would fall on Nisan 14, which is the year most scholars identify, AD 33, corresponds to April 3rd, AD 33. And it just so happens that, my birthday is April 3rd. I was born a year after Apostle Tahar came into the truth. Right around that comment dropped me off. Haley comment, Haley comment pastor. I'm just fucking with you. It says his birth is also placed at Passover, as some early Christian writers speculated would fall in the first month of the Hebrew year, meaning late March to mid-April, depending on the new moon that year. You know. So it says December 25th was chosen. It says it was chosen. It wasn't the date. That's things actually happened in the 4th century, not because of the Bible, right? But because early Roman Christians fixed Jesus' conception on March 25th, which placed his birth 9 months later on December 25th, which that's false. You see it, April. But he wasn't conceived on March 25th if he was born on April or on the Passover, man. So, they were wrong. They also conveniently align with existing Roman winter festivals like Sol Invictus and Saturnalia, making it easier to Christianize a date people were already celebrating. Let me see something real quick. Get this queued up. Control V. What the Bible says and doesn't say. The Bible never gives a date for Yahweh Shah's birth, but it does. It gives the time period, which is during the Passover. It says early Christians didn't celebrate Christmas at all for the first 300 years. The earliest major Christian feast was Epiphany, January 6th, not Christmas. This means December 25th did not come from Scripture. So what are you people worshiping, man? You stupid, dumb dogs. Fuck is you people worshiping, man? The first time December 25th appears in history, the first official record of December 25th at Jesus' birth is in a Roman calendar from AD 336. That's more than 300 years after Yahweh Shai lived. The historical theories for December 25th, the calculation theory, Christian eternal logic, Britannica, explains that a Christian historian, Sextus Julius Africanus, calculated Jesus' conception as March 25th, the spring equinox, which is bullshit. Which I'm pretty sure that was an Edomite. Let me see if there's any images of him. Yes, Edomite. Look at that goddamn nose, man. Jeez Louise. Look like he got a fucking. Look at that nose. So you know what type of motherfucker he was, right? That damn nose, man. That's the reason why they wanted to. That's why they had to chop Jake nose off, man, because it would be, the law wouldn't match up, man. Out of all things, it had to be the nose. Uh, it says this was a theological calculation, not a historical one. It says the Roman festival theory, cultural alignment, Sol Invictus, birthday of the unconquered sun, celebrated on December 25th, honoring the rebirth of the sun after the winter solstice. Because, they wanted to get the crops in the spring, right? It says Saturnalia, week-long festival of feasting and gift giving, which even extends to New Year's Eve, which, why would it be the new year in the heart of winter, man? The new year would be when everything is being refreshed, and that's the spring. Held December 17th through 23rd, extremely popular in Rome, and we're in Rome all over again. Here in America, man. Choosing December 25th allowed the church to replace sun worship with sun worship, absorb existing celebrations, ease conversion of Roman citizens. This is why many historians say the date was strategic, not historical. Why December 25th stuck? It matched the Roman solar calendar. It symbolized Jesus as the light of the world, which, that was a false name. And I don't like saying that name, but this is just for edification purposes. It says, which I'm trying to make a distinction from Jesus and Yahweh Shai. It merged easily with winter festivals people already loved. It was officially adopted by the Roman Church and spread through the empires. By the Middle Ages, December 25th was universal in Western Christianity. Risks, limits, and what to keep in mind. December 25th is not based on Yahweh Shai's actual birth date. Scholars overwhelmingly place his birth in spring based on shepherd activity. Right. The date is a church decision, not a biblical command. Eastern churches still use January 6 or 7, showing the date was never fixed by scripture. This is Isaiah chapter 29, verse 16. It says, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay." So, despite these devils uh, changing the meanings, changing the names, changing all these things, it's all going to be esteemed as the potter's clay. Let me see what it says in NLT. Hold on. I just had it. It says, "How foolish can you be? He is the potter, and he is certainly greater than you, the clay. Should the created thing say of the one who made it, he didn't make me? Does a jar ever say, the potter who made me is stupid?" But yet that's how you Edomites think, man. And he created you to be a forger of lies. I believe it's in Job. This is Job chapter 13, verse 4. It says, "But ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value." And Esau, he's a forger of lies, man. This is Psalm chapter 58, verse 3. It says, "The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies." So really, you people that are celebrating these holidays, celebrating Thanksgiving, man, you just marking yourself for death. Eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua and his angels. How they influence December 25th as Christmas. National Geographic and other historians explain that early Christians did not originally celebrate Yahweh's birth. When the Roman Church finally chose a date, 4th century, December 25th was selected because it was already the birth of Sol Invictus. It symbolized the rebirth of light after the solstice. It followed the popular Saturnalia season. It eased conversion by aligning with existing Roman traditions. This is why December appears nowhere in the Bible. It is a Roman liturgical choice, not a historical one. And that proves that the scriptures are real, that America is nothing but Rome all over again, man. So um yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and end it on that. So with that, I hope at least one brother of the elect was edified. And I'm gonna say shalom.